10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and as always, I am joined by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this June 1st, 2020 evening. And we are officially, I guess, well, maybe not officially, but I call it summer. I call June summer, but is Maine, has it stopped snowing over there? Are you guys in for, are the leaves coming out now?
I saw a tulip the other day.
That's a good sign. That means that you guys have life.
I want to apologize that my internet connection last week was actually working.
Yeah, well, you know what? It wasn't great, but I have to admit it was a part of the problem was my fuck up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take most of the responsibility. You had a little responsibility, but yeah, you know what happened? I got this great new camera from my friend who is one of the, I guess, owners, or he was the owner of Logitech cameras. He sends me a new camera. Little do I know, because I have an old shitty webcam that I usually use, that the new ones have their own audio built into them. So it's audio and video, except the audio sucks. And my microphone that I normally use is much better. So it was picking up from the Logitech audio, even though the video looks great on Logitech. Logitech's got video down pat. They shouldn't try to mess with audio, but evidently they did. And so we had a bad feedback issue. So I apologize for last week's show, and I apologize to Chris for having to terminate him last week.
Apology accepted.
The funny thing was, you didn't even want to do the show because you were like kind of on vacation, and then you did it anyway.
No, I wanted to do the show.
I know. Well, you felt obligated to the fans. You like to talk to the fans.
Yes, and I wanted to do it, except I couldn't. I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, and then it was static too. It was terrible. I hate static. There's nothing worse than listening to a radio show with terrible audio.
Yeah,
it's like the dumbest thing of all time, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we fixed it. Or you fixed it?
We did fix it. Yeah. Well, I figured it out afterwards. I always figure things out when I'm editing at the end. I'm like, wait a second. Why is this camera not on the right camera? Not good. Not good. So what's going on over there in the Osito household on this June 1st evening here?
Just like everyone else, we're still sequestered due to the coronavirus, right?
Are you still sequestering yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we're still, we're not. I mean, there's nothing to go out to. Everything's closed here in Maine still. Everything's still closed. Crazy.
So no gyms are open, huh?
No gyms open. Well, no restaurants are open.
Wow.
And bizarrely, they were supposed to open June 1st, which would be today. And the governor, like 4 days before, changed her mind. So people I rent to, for example, went out and bought like produce and eggs and chicken and steak and fish. And, they're getting ready to go. And now they either had to freeze it or throw it out. The governor says, I'll buy it and give it to the prisoners. She did today.
What? Are you kidding me?
So it's not. So there's nothing really to do, and other than that, we're glued to the TV a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. No, there's nothing else to.
What do you do? I mean, there's nothing. What are you doing down there? I saw your favorite restaurant went out of business.
What was that? Where
do you guys go every day? Not the bagel place.
Not Golden Corral.
The Golden Corral. I think it went out of business.
Really?
Right?
Did I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, buffets. I think buffets are done. That's my thing. I don't think they have any more legs to stand on now, because everyone's afraid of, even if germs.
Yeah.
We're like a germaphobe society. Look at this I wanted to show you this funny thing. My mother-in-law posted this. It's pretty funny. Watch this. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I just blew the punchline here. Hold on. You got to start.
Oh, Dave.
Here it goes.
That's Big Lenny on the couch.
It's pretty funny, right? Yeah, right there. I thought I'd start you off with a laugh, and then I can go into the depressing news, right?
Yeah, somebody died. in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah,
The world is on fire.
Has there been a week? Has there been a week that we have not reported a death? Seriously, that you can remember?
I think we might, honestly, since like January 1, maybe a couple weeks went by max. Maybe.
It's sickening. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on with our society. You think it's only a question of bodybuilding, or do you think you think it's all over, that people are just dropping? I mean, I don't know.
Well, who passed this week, or who died this week, and what was the cause?
Yeah. Well, it was a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did her diet when she turned pro. Bev De Renzo. Pull a picture up. And she hold on, there we go. That's not the screen I want to show you, but she passed. They found her in a bed. Mm-hmm. You know, like the story that we hear from everything, you know, that we've been hearing lately. Family came in. She wasn't alive. Now, I believe they're doing an autopsy, so we'll find out what the cause of death is. But right now, no one really knows. Her husband, her ex-husband, who's also no longer with us, Matt De Renzo, had brought me down to guest post. This is a true story, in 2003, and in Cape Coral, Florida. I'd never been there. And I was like, whoa, this place is great. I love it. What a cute little place. It's in South Florida, but it's on the West Coast. It's not, overrun with New Yorkers. I said it seems, and he was like, oh yeah, the pricing it's really cheap here. And he was originally from New Jersey. He had come down here years before. And Bev was his wife. Were running at the time. She was a gymnast, and she was running they had opened a little gymnastics gym, and he had a little bodybuilding, like a workout area where he would train people, like parents, while they were waiting for their kids. And, I guest posed for him actually 2 years in a row. And then I started working with her, and I helped her get her pro card at the Nationals. And I was friends with them, and then ironically enough, I find, my wife, Amanda, who's from here, obviously, Bev was her gymnastics coach for a while, and they were friends. And she used to, growing up, they knew each other their whole life, ironically enough. And then I wound up moving down here. Isn't it the irony of, how you wind up where places is just crazy.
It is.
So anyway, so I would see every once in a while, I'd go to the gym once a week, at least before my last kid was born. I would always see Bev at Gulf Coast Fitness. She worked there and trained people, and she'd give me a big hug and everything like that. And, that was it. I was like, everything was good. I didn't, you don't expect anything like that to happen. Matt had some, some heart problems, I think, and that's why he died. But she was, as far as I knew, she was healthy, So just another shocker, another bodybuilder. Really weird, because it was kind of close to Joanna Thomas, also, who actually also was used to train with my wife.
Yeah, so, they both look incredible too.
Yeah. I mean, they were good. And it is what it is, But I don't know. It's just a weird time. I have to believe that the environment really does influence, a lot of times the mental state. I mean, look what happened with Luke. There's no way Luke would have killed himself had this coronavirus thing not been going on, right? I mean, the gym was his therapist, essentially,
Yeah, I believe that.
I truly believe that. Yeah, I truly believe that. So I don't know. It's just it's sad when you hear about that and you lose people.
Dave, that's not to backtrack. That doesn't mean that he didn't have serious, issues going on. But there's always the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. There's a lot of depressed people out there, and you don't have to necessarily commit suicide to die. And if you're super depressed, you can, depression attracts bad health to yourself too. I mean, it suppresses your immune system. It can make you more vulnerable to like a coronavirus type situation. Speaking of coronavirus, I didn't even know it, but the guy Sistanino had coronavirus. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I knew that after the fact. I mean, I didn't know.
He was in the hospital. I got him on the show this past week. Let's pull that up. And, he told us the whole story basically about what happened with him. Evidently, first of all, I got to say, I love Guy. Guy, I'm so amused by any chance I can. I almost like when things happen to Guy, not bad things, of course, but so I can get Guy on the show, like a good excuse. All right, I got to get Guy on the show to talk about this or talk about that. And he can make like the worst scenario comical, which is something I do a lot of times too. So I can kind of like respect that. Poor Guy, he gets coronavirus, like. He thinks he got it from his training partner or something like that, but whatever. He gets coronavirus, gets over it relatively easy, and then he gets this. Now, evidently, from what the new dogma on coronavirus, I don't know if you've read this, is that a lot of the issues with it, the breathing problems, the heart problems, they're due to this clotting issue that they cause, and the reason they think it causes clotting, like microclots in the capillary beds. For those of you who don't know, the arteries that get fed the oxygenated blood eventually terminate in these single cell like capillaries where oxygen exchange occurs in the organs and stuff like that. And then they go into from the capillaries, the vessels start getting bigger again, and they become veins, and then the veins go back to the heart, and then to the lungs, and they become reoxygenated. So simplistically speaking. Now, if you have in the lungs, problems with, clotting in the capillaries, you're not getting oxygen exchange. So that's how they're inhibiting the body's ability to get oxygen, and why they're putting people on ventilators. It's also why people are not having success on ventilators, because it's not solving the problem, which is a clotting problem. And what they think, at least from the research I've done, Chris, is that they think that the coronavirus roughs up the smooth surfaces of the capillaries, because blood vessels have very smooth surfaces. So these red blood cells can kind of slip through them real easy. Makes them slippery. If the inside of the vessel is rough, the blood vessels can get caught in there, and then that's what causes these little clots. And so this microclotting is what evidently led to some clotting in a clot that formed in his calf area. And he was getting pain in his leg. And Guy, of course, being the maniac he is, was going for physical therapy, was going to like a massage therapist because he thought he had pulled a muscle or something like that, which could have been super dangerous had it dislodged the clot. He's like, they were using some kind of like crazy machine on him, like, that was like smashing his calf, like to try to relax the muscle. Meanwhile, he had a blood clot there. So luckily for all of us, and for Guy himself, nothing serious happened. They got him on some blood thinners now, and hopefully all will be well. But it is interesting that that's what this coronavirus is doing, how it's exacting all its damages through this this clotting issue, which kind of might give doctors a better strategy on how to treat it, which would be evidently with these anticoagulants.
It's a fantastic description of how the mechanism of how
it's interesting, right?
How the clots cause the damage.
Yeah.
Or how the virus causes the clots, which they can't they get jammed up and can't cross, or the red blood cell can't cross.
Which makes sense.
Is it the red blood cell or the oxygen can't cross?
Well, the red blood cell, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're going to be oxygenated when they hit the capillary beds, but it's the red blood cells are very small. So that you can't see them; they're cells, right? So I mean, think about how small these capillary vessels are. They're so small that they only allow one blood cell at a time to pass through them, which is why they're so efficient at exchanging oxygen, because they're very thin. The problem is, if they get gunked up and you don't get oxygen exchange, you're starving. Your body is being starved of oxygen, and obviously, if that happens, you die. And that's why these people die, even though they're on ventilators. It's not that they're not getting enough oxygen; they can't absorb the oxygen.
I had guys so crazy. I got a bunch of text messages. It was like the one day I slept in. And I FaceTime Guy, and he's driving in his car, and he goes, "Yo," and I say, "Okay, you're fine, goodbye," and I hung up.
Oh, by the way, he didn't. I don't think he missed a single day in the gym, though, either.
Of course he didn't.
I think he was back in the gym the next day or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
That's the kicker. You think, well, the poor guy, because he feels good. He doesn't have the virus. He just is still having, I guess, residual effects of it. you know, because think about it. If you rough up the vessels, you know, that even though you don't have the virus active in your body anymore, until everything heals itself up, and let's hope that the body can heal itself. You know, we don't really even know why this virus is having residual effects, or why some people a month after having the virus still are showing that they're, you know, positive for it or don't have antibodies towards it. So it's kind of weird, you know, it's a weird virus. And that's what happens when you make viruses and release them, and, you know, and they don't occur in nature. Fucked up things happen like this, and shame on us.
The two Guy, to understand how crazy Guy is, you know, because of the coronavirus, I didn't want to go to the grocery store, and I thought there may be a meat shortage, so I ordered a deep freezer.
Yeah, the one that you almost ran into, yeah.
Yes. Guy, which I didn't run into, but I crashed my car into my garage.
Into your house, yeah, into your house.
Yeah.
Chris tried to avoid the new freezer he ordered, so he crashed into his house and stuff.
So Guy, who was at, I think it was an Olympia or the Arnold, one of the two, and he ordered a refrigerator for the room, and they screwed up somehow. So all I know is that he got on the phone screaming at people. It was either in Vegas or Ohio. And Davis, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not. He had delivered to the hotel room a deep freezer.
What?
That was the same. It was the same size as I have, or just a little bit smaller than I have. I'm dead serious.
Where did you get it?
It would have
delivered
held
from?
like, I don't know, but you couldn't. He was looking for like a fridge, you know, and they were supposed to have like a little fridge in his hotel room, and every single person would walk into the room and say, "What is that?" And he'd say, "Oh, it's a deep freezer." Long story.
And he paid for it himself?
Yeah, he paid for it. It was a rental. It was a rental that he had.
You know, because
like a week.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because, you know, back when we used to, you know, compete and everything like that, I used to always say to myself, they charge like $30 a day for one of these little refrigerators, right? Remember the room?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd always get them. I mean, I'm like, wouldn't it just be cheaper to buy one at the store and just leave it in the room afterwards? Like, for, what was it, like they were like $80 or something, $75, because you would rent the refrigerator for 4 days. It's $120 right there. You better off just buying one, and then when you check out of the hotel, just leave it, you know. Or if you're a cheapo, you try to bring it on the plane with you. I don't know whoever their right mind would do that, but that was always something I thought about.
The hotel may charge your credit card a disposal fee.
I don't know, yeah. Or just give it to someone who lives like locally. Say, hey, you want a freezer or want a fridge? Yeah, but guys are not like that. But that's why he gets things done the right way. He doesn't want any hassle. I always tell people that back in the day when I used to compete back in the 90s, and you probably did this too. You'd get off the airplane at the airport, and then you'd go looking for the shuttle, right, or the hotel shuttle, or there was a train. Some of these cities, you hop on the train, it would take you right. At some point, after doing that once or twice, I said to myself, wait a second, I'm competing here. I'm spending God knows how much money on the airfare, hotel, the application fee, the drugs, the food, everything that it cost me to get ready for the show. And I am cheaping out on a $20 cab ride to the hotel because I want to catch the shuttle. I have 14 bags with me. I'm aggravated. I'm sweating. I'm dehydrated. I'm cramping. After that, once I realized that, I said, fuck it. I get into a cab and I go to the hotel. Never again do I ever fight with that. But there's still people who do that. I see that all the time. Why did it take you 6 hours to get from the airport here? Oh, I had to catch the shuttle to the tram, to the this, to the that. Then I had to walk 6 blocks.
Right?
Well, yeah, now you can do it. But still, people will try to cheap out a lot of times, you know, because of that. But yeah, when you're competing, you make your life as the least stressful as possible. There's no reason why you should be in a hotel room with a bucket of ice from the ice machine trying to keep your chicken, you know, cold. Because what's going to happen is you're going to forget to put fresh ice in there. It's going to get warm. You're going to get food poisoning, and you're going to fuck up your show. We've seen that happen. Well, God knows, Chris, your clients get food poisoning all the time. I don't know why, but they do.
That used to happen all the time in like the 90s. People would always see. You know, now people take too much diuretics and get sick, and they say it was food poisoning.
That's true.
Then
yeah, that's
it was
true.
seriously.
Yeah.
Then people would get food poisoning, not all the time, but they would be at a hotel for 3 days, and they'd get the buckets of ice and put it in a cooler,
That's
and
right.
they'd have like fish,
Doesn't work.
and
No joke. This is a true story. When I was dating Colette, she would, cook like 14, pounds of fish for herself, excuse me, for her show. And we were at a show. I don't remember what show it was for her. And we were on, like you said, day 3. And I don't think she was feeding that cooler with enough ice. I think actually we had a refrigerator because I made her get a refrigerator. And I don't know if she had it out of the refrigerator too long. The fish stunk. It was disgusting. It was like, and I think it was the day after the show. She ate this fish. I'm telling you, if I would just smelling it, I think I got food poisoning from it. I don't know how she did it. She had a cast iron stomach. The fish had to have been spoiled. It was disgusting. She wouldn't throw it out because she didn't want to waste the fish, because it was like $20 a pound, like orange roughy or something like that. It was the smell of it was so nasty in the hotel. I wanted to puke, and she ate it, no problem. If I would have eaten it, I would have been in intensive care. The guy probably would have been dead.
You guys, you missed the boat there when the two of you were together. If you had YouTube around, right?
Yeah. We would have definitely been. We would have been on TMZ.
You had your own TV series by now.
I'm sure. So, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So thank God, Guy is fine now, and he's on the road to recovery. So, but you got to, if you do get COVID out there, you got to be careful and cautious of that. And I wonder if if you have COVID and you're a bodybuilder and you're training really hard in the gym, I wonder if you're more prone to getting clots because of the fact that, there's a lot of blood flow going through your body. You would think that wouldn't lead you to clots, but who knows? Maybe just the damaging of the muscle fibers and stuff like that, and the rebuilding could be a problem. I don't know. Just keep an eye on that, guys. Do you know a lot of bodybuilders that have COVID?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't know anyone other than Guy.
Oh, I know a few people
who has COVID.
Well, Colette.
The young or older?
Colette had COVID. Yeah, but
she did.
Yeah, she got over it.
How'd she know where she got it?
Well, I think from the
right?
doctor's office because she works with doctors.
And what was how bad was so what happened? I mean, she got fever.
Yeah, she just was sick she got over it pretty quickly. She didn't really have any side effects. She just got slammed for a couple of days, I think. So, anyway, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Jerry Branham and Mike Torsha, who had on the TV show the past week.
Oh, Mike Torsha is an ex-Bob Gruskin guy. You know that, right?
I didn't know that. I'll tell you how I know. He was really well. I could bet he looks like a Bob Gruskin, guy that he would like. Tell me about how he met Torsha.
I don't know, but they were pretty tight. You should have asked Mike.
I didn't know that.
I wish you had known. What did Mike win? The Teenage Mr. America, the Collegiate, or something?
Like that. He won Mr. California, too. The
Cal before Pro. That, when he was really young, he won.
Oh, he did? I don't know. You would know better than I do, probably.
I think it was the I don't know. He won something with a big title because Bob was in his corner. He used to call Bob when I was in the basement.
But he lived in Westchester. I'm going to tell you something.
Right.
Mike Torsha was the first real bodybuilder that I ever ran into and knew.
I met him in Washington, D.C. Dave. Okay, crazy. I've said it before, right? About Forrest Gump.
Teen Mr. America, AAU. He won.
Teen Mr. America.
76.
I met him.
Oh, my God.
I met him when I was 15 years old in Washington, D.C.
That's funny.
I went to I went to a health something that was going on. A friend of mine who was much older than me took me to Washington, D.C. to some trade show. And Mike Torsha was there. And he was the only bodybuilder there. It was for health food nuts. Mm-hmm. And Torsha was there representing something. And he looked gigantic to me. I probably have pictures if I want to dig it up. And I talked to him and he was it was like a fan talking to Jay. Yeah. But Mike, he's friendly and talks about him.
Yeah. He's got a really good he had a good gym physique too. Very impressive in the gym, right?
He was very impressive that day when I met him. He looked crazy.
It's like one of those guys you see in the gym, you're like, holy mackerel. How would I ever beat that guy, He had
the full pecs, right? Big shoulders.
Yeah, good legs. Trying to see if I can find a picture of him.
He's got the big smile, right?
Oh yeah, million. Always with the hottest girls in the gym, which is impressive. When
Yeah, I told Mike it's to be a downfall.
yeah, he was always
Bob.
always married. He was always getting married to someone, right? Is that what Bob told him? Is that true?
Settle down, Mike.
But unfortunately, Bob warned everyone about the girls, and no one listened. And he was right about every girl, right?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep this one.
Let me see if I got. Hold on. That was him. Yeah.
That's
not even a good picture of him.
No, but he's very young there too. I'm sure.
Yeah. That's probably when he won the teens.
Yeah, that's what he's got the Bob Breskin legs, right?
Yeah, great legs. Great legs.
Isn't it funny, Dave? After Bob dies, like all these people, are like, oh yeah, Bob worked with him. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I worked with Bob. Yeah, I worked with Bob. You know how many people are?
Especially if you're in if you're in the Westchester area. I mean, that's where Bob lived. I mean, come on. But so anyway, we did this guru talk, and we talked with Mike and Jerry Branham, who's obviously a very smart guy. I love talking to Jerry, and we were talking about how it's almost ridiculous that they should make you wear a mask in a gym when you're working out, and especially if you're doing cardio in the gym. And Mike Mike a couple of years ago came on the show, and he was. You remember that that Wii game, the Wii?
Oh yeah,
we play tennis and bowling. Well, people were dying of it. Someone he had written a letter to the governor or to the head of Nintendo or something like that. Is that who makes it? I think Nintendo Wii. Yeah. Saying that someone's going to die from this, have a heart attack playing tennis or something like that because it's too hard to swing the thing. It should be easier than the real racket. And people don't rest; they go for hours and hours and hours. And like a week or two after that, someone had a heart attack and died. So the president of Nintendo called him up and said, well, what should we do? Because they worried about this. It was going to be like a publicity nightmare.
Yeah. And
he made a whole list of suggestions. You should have breaks. The game should be broken up. You shouldn't be able to play continuously. It should force a break every 20 or 30 minutes. And you got to make he knew Mike knew someone who knew video games, and they gave him some idea of how to make the paddle easier. So when you swing it, it's not like you don't have to swing so hard, so it's not as realistic. And just a bunch of things. And so Mike's into I think he likes to get his name out there, but he does it, he's trying to, keep people healthy and protect them in a sense. So he wrote a letter to the governor also about this whole mask thing, saying, you're going to have someone who's going to drop dead of a heart attack, because of the hypoxia, initiated by this mask trying to breathe while you're doing high intensity exercise. That's not a good way to prevent the virus. So Jerry, we talked about the whole transmission of the virus, and for people who haven't seen it, you can check it out at RxMuscle.
Yeah,
it's a really good interview, and Jerry's great. Jerry's great. I got to get Jerry on. Jerry's into whole longevity medicine and longevity supplements stuff. I'm going to get him back on for another show for that because he's he's completely got my dad's schedule now. He stays up till 4 a.m. doing his writing and everything like that, and his research, and then he sleeps till noon every day. Which Jerry Branham.
Where's Jerry? Of course I know Jerry. Where's Jerry living now?
Still in California. Yeah, still in California.
Crazy. Jerry Branham has been around
since the beginning, right?
Yeah. You know what? And he's remarkably knowledgeable, and he's written probably more articles
than Ron Harris.
Yeah, but everyone is on nutrition or supplements, absolutely. And everyone will catch your attention from the beginning. You start reading to the very end.
Yeah, he's a good writer too. Yeah, he's definitely keeps your interest, and he's knowledgeable because he reads and researches, and he's never stopped. And I think that's why he's so sharp. Because he doesn't let his brain get soft and mushy.
That's his nickname, the Brain.
The Brain. Well, he's got the last name. I always wonder, you think that's his real name? I never asked him that.
Yeah, I think it's his real name.
I always say, because think about it. Your last name was probably, it's come from your ancestors, obviously, and at some point when people were making up last names, initially no one had last names, right? It was just like, Chris and Dave, and eventually someone said, well, we got to give last names. So, well, that guy's pretty smart. We'll call him Joe Brain. And
where did Palumbo come from?
Palumbo means pigeon in peace in Italy. So maybe my ancestors were pigeon keepers. I don't know, or peacekeepers. I don't know. One or the other.
Yeah, maybe they lived next to mine. Or
what does Osito mean?
Vinegar.
See, you guys were vinegar makers,
Yeah.
But it's true, right? I mean, think about it. Everyone, but then again, I see some names where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I feel bad that they have a last name like that, and then I'm thinking, God knows what their relatives did.
Yeah.
There's some really good, because everyone, not everyone has good nicknames, the reason they give you the nickname is because of, what your personality is. And so some guys are, what do you see these jerk off or something? Someone bought some product from us the other day, and my wife's like, "You got to see this guy's last name." I wish I remembered what it was. It was hysterical. I would have changed my name if that's what my name was.
Don't say it. He may not repurchase.
I'm not saying it. I don't remember. Luckily, I can't remember anything. Luckily, that's good. Or nothing. I can't remember anything trivial. I remember important stuff. But. Yes, that was a good article. Excellent. And a lot of people have been asking about nutrition. I'm actually going to have Lane Norton on Guru Talk this week to talk about the debate calories versus macros. I can't believe he's a calorie guy, but he did I had done a video on calories, about how calories are ridiculous, in terms of dieting. It's got to be the macronutrient breakdown of carbs to protein to fat that's important, People ask me all the time, how many calories is this diet you gave me? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't figure it out.
I just give out.
You do macros, right?
No, I tell people they can eat all calories. If you can have, a cup of oatmeal or 120 calories of Snickers bar. You can have 8 ounces of potato or 180 calories of Snickers bar. You can have a cup of rice or 45 carbs from Kit Kats.
Yeah. No, but
that essentially torpedoes that.
Right. But yeah, exactly. But you know what? If you fit its macros, guys, are even probably better than the people who say it's just about calories. In other words, at least the macro guys say, okay, it's this many carbs, this many fats, this much protein. They just say you can eat whatever kind of protein, fat, and carbs you want. That's actually, I'm not as bad with, I mean, I think it's ridiculous, but I'm not as bad with that one as I am with, okay, you're going to have a 3,000 calorie diet, and it doesn't matter where you get your calories from, because you're going to lose weight if you go 2,900 calories as opposed to 3,000 calories, which is ridiculous. Because you can eat. What if you eat all carbs? You're gonna get fat from doing that.
I get news. Your body doesn't know the difference between 2,900 and 3,000. End of story. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't know calories. It knows macronutrients. That's what dictates how you look. It's. I mean, at this point in time, it's pretty much an established science. I don't know what there is to debate about it, but Lane and I will get on there and have fun with it. I like Lane, so I'm not like, I don't have now. Some people I debate, Chris, that I don't like them. I think that they're just dummies. I kind of respect Lane. I like him, and I think he's a good guy. But so I'll enjoy the time on. But people like to see us debate about stuff like that. They find it funny. When you a lot of people ask me this about you. They try to think they're going to suck information out of me. I said, I don't even know what Chris does. When you write a diet for someone, let's say a bodybuilder.
When I write a diet, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you the question first. Sean Roden comes to you. Chris, I want to work with you. Okay, what's the first thing you do before you write a diet for Sean? Do you ask him even what he's eating, or do you just write your own diet and say, here, this is what you're going to follow?
I would ask what they're currently eating.
Oh, you will.
Where you're currently eating, yeah. Just to get a snapshot, because some people can be eating wow, they're eating I've never seen anyone eat that much.
Right.
Or you could, John Smith can send you a diet and say, God, he looks really good, and he doesn't eat anything.
Right.
You sure that's to give you a blueprint from where to start from.
Right.
I think that's important.
Yeah. I get.
Yeah.
I don't know if you find this, but I find that when people will give me a whole diet that they're eating, and they're eating an enormous amount of food, and I know I got to get them ready for a show, and I'm like, well, they're really not that out of shape. I know there's no way they're going to lose weight on all that food that they're eating, even though they're telling me they got a great metabolism, they need all this food. So I always wind up starting them off on way more food than I know they need, just because I think that if I rip down their diet immediately, they're going to have a nervous breakdown. And invariably, I'm always right. I always wind up stripping away all the food like after like 2 or 3 weeks, because I know they're not losing any weight on it. Do you think?
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah, I do notice that.
Because people just want to eat a lot of food. I see this in bodybuilders all the time.
Well, people like to throw around the word flat simply so that they can continue to, eat a lot of food.
Right.
Oh, you're just hungry and starving, and tired.
Have you ever seen anyone lose a lot? I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 people in the history. But have you ever seen anyone be fully glycogen loaded and burn massive amounts of fat?
No. I mean, you inevitably, the laws exert themselves at some point, right? I mean,
your body's not going to burn fat if you have glycogen loaded. This just doesn't work. I don't know.
No, I mean, you can look good, on a lot of carbs,
right?
But at some point, to look great, they have to start moving down,
right? But don't you think that a lot of people who eat a lot of carbs and still burn fat, those people are burning up most of those carbs? So the reason why they have to eat a lot of carbs is not because they need to store glycogen. They're not. They're using the carbs. For some reason, their metabolism is using them, right?
Yeah, totally agree. They just burn right through them.
That's why you can't say, well, Jay Cutler ate 1,000 grams of carbs, Well, yeah, but he used them. It wasn't like the guy was fucking, storing them. He was using them. If that's why he needed that many. He didn't, look at how much muscle he had to feed,
Yeah. Speaking of, did you see that video I posted?
No, you posted
I tagged you on it on Instagram. Oh, it was just sensational.
Oh, was it a young? Yeah, I did see it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Hold on. Set up the video. It's
so well. The video is, the irony is, I was just talking to Gian Enrico Pica from Italy, and he said the first time I met Jay was in Italy, and I said he was crazy in Italy. And then the very next day, somebody sent me this video, which was the 2000 British Grand Prix.
Is that what that is? Okay.
And yep. And me and Jay go to the show, and Coleman had just won the 2000 Olympia. I honestly thought Jay could have won the show right here. I thought he did win the show, Dave. And I'm biased.
What year was this again?
2000.
British Grand Prix in where? England?
Yeah, somewhere in England. So I invite my friends who've never been to a bodybuilding show to come see the show, and they meet. They're very, respectful and skinny little nerdy people backstage, and with strong British accents. And they go, "Oh, nice to meet you, Jay." And one guy declares, "You absolutely should have won the show. Absolutely, hands down, won the show." And Jay said, "Yeah, you've been to a lot of bodybuilding shows?" And the guy says, "No, this is my first one." And Jay says, "Well, you got to have an eye for it, and I know you probably don't have the eye for it, like these judges have." And the guy says, "Chris, did you tell him what I do for a job?" And I said, "Jay, he teaches at the university students how to become eye doctors. He's an eye surgeon." So he says, I know what I'm looking at, Jay.
How much did he weigh here?
256.
That's good look for him.
Oh, 252, I think. 252. Look at the abs.
Yeah. And what did he place at the Olympia that year?
Eighth. And then after this show, Italy was the day before the next day. And Dave, it's a quote, Jay will tell you, I took a picture of Jay with Ronnie, and Jay said, "Why'd you take that picture backstage?" And I said, "I'm going to make a copy of it and give it to you because it's the last time Ronnie beats you." And Dave, dead serious. Jay heard that, and it just clicked in his head. He said, "I'm taking the whole year off." And he took the whole year off and went to the Olympia 2001, right? And he won the prejudging by yeah. Look how young he is here, huh?
Yeah.
We had a blast there.
That was great. Yeah, I'm just watching it. I'm enjoying it. Cool.
You want to know? Dave? You want to know another crazy thing? You can ask Jay. We were in Italy, and I had the craziest high fevers on that trip you could ever imagine.
Oh my God.
I was like soaked, drenched out of my mind, and I'd be like, I thought I was going to die there. And I always say it was a prelude, like my immune system was getting screwed up because cancer was like on its way.
That's right before you got there. Yeah.
Dave, I'm dead serious. I can remember in Italy, like feeling like I'm going to die, and I'd say, hit that shot again.
Yeah. People don't realize you don't sleep the whole time you're there with these guys. I don't know. That's definitely a Grushkin thing because I don't know why you don't sleep. You just you do this whole thing with like you have to stay up the whole fucking weekend. I don't know why. You get like 2 hours.
It's a blast.
But I think you do it because I think it's like been burned into your soul from seeing like Bob Grushkin do that. Except you're not developing photos and doing other stuff, so you don't even have anything to do. You know, Bob at least was busy preparing food and cooking and tanning guys. You're like just hanging out. You know, shooting the shit. You know,
hit that most muscular gang. Hit that most muscular jab. Be drenched. I mean, soaked. Take a shirt off.
No, but Bob was legitimately busy. Like he just couldn't sleep because he had too much to do. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what Doug said on your show. He said that he'd never sleep. He'd go in the. Anyhow.
That was a good shot. Yeah, that was a good routine. He definitely improved, though. I think a lot from that year to the following year.
Oh yeah. He just
like dramatically, like, you know, people could say, "Oh, he got fucked." No way. Jay came into his own in 01. I mean, that was 01 to like, what would you say, like 06 versus prime?
Yeah,
best years.
Yeah, and Dave, to backtrack to 01, the irony is, I remember being in Vegas with Jay, and people were like offended almost when they'd be like, "How do you think you're gonna do?" I'm dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
The whole week we were there, he'd say, "Oh, I'm winning." And people would be like, you know, good, you know,
good job, kid. Yeah, good luck.
I mean, it was in his mind for sure that like this is a done deal, and you know, Jay's not arrogant.
No, he truly believed it. Yeah, he believed it, and that's important. Yeah, if you don't believe that you can win, that you're kind of wasting your time in a sense.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So I did Anthony Pasquale had a good idea. He said, "Why don't we do a video where I interview you and we make it like a live with Dave Palumbo?"
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, so because I have a lot of questions to ask. I said, "All right, well, maybe we'll do it like a series on it." So
I was trying to get Cedric to do it, but
he would ask me very obnoxious questions. So yeah. And so Anthony Pasquale interviewed me, and we titled it "How I Became a Mass Monster" because that was one of the questions in there. So I think a lot of people seem to like that. It's funny because I always am the interviewer, so I don't really get to answer questions a lot of times. So the only time I do is if someone else gets me on one of their podcasts or something like that, I actually do it, and I'll answer questions. So I figured, it's a good idea. It's a little change of pace. It gives me the ability to kind of move away from being the guy who's asking the questions and just answer the questions, you know. And so I have a lot to, you and I obviously have a lot to say. People loved when I did that live with you, didn't we? Right, we did one of those a couple years ago. We should do another one because people, the people who just came into the sport after 6 months and are trying to compete, they don't know who Chris Aceto is.
People ask me, do you oh gosh,
did you ever compete?
Or they do this. Do you prep people, or do you have you ever prepped anyone before? Do you prep,
It's so weird because when we competed back in the 90s, you had to know the history of everyone. If you didn't know who everyone was, you were like a pariah almost. Like it was your responsibility. But you know what? I blame the fact that there's no magazines now, because we read those magazines from cover to cover, and that's where I learned a lot of the history of what was going on from reading like Peter McGuff articles and all the people who wrote historical pieces, Joe Rourke and everything, right?
I was thinking that the other day because I actually clicked onto, when you go onto Instagram and it shows like a bunch of things that you've clicked on or whatever.
Yeah.
and it had a picture of Gaspari. Gaspari had a picture, and with Gaspari was like this. I think he had like won the Arnold or something, and Joe Weider was handing him his trophy, and he was holding up Rich's arm, and Rich was like looking up like in disbelief and in admiration of like, you know, encapsulated like victory, and you know, this is Joe Weider, and he underneath he said it was sad that people don't know the legacy of Joe Weider, and then I commented on it, and then I realized that the office building was recently sold, 21100 Irwin Street.
Oh, really? It was sold.
And going up to see Joe Weider, nobody encapsulated that better than Jay. He said it was like going to see the President of the United States.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, it was absolutely.
And if you've never been in a high-end office building before, Class A office building, this building would, as a bodybuilder, would intimidate the hell out of you.
It was insane.
It was insane. And imagine they were making a magazine about bodybuilding. Yeah. And they must have had, what, like 100 employees up there.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, they had a couple magazines, don't forget, too.
I know, but...
Did they, I don't know if did they run the nutrition company out of there, too, or no?
No, they did out of Salt Lake. But he had, like, little satellite people, you know, who would be in the Irwin Hills office.
So he can oversee it, yeah.
Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills.
You know, because I'm always amazed that John Hanson knows all the history and still remembers it. And then I realize John still got all the old magazines in his house. He's got boxes. He probably goes and pulls them out and starts reading them. That's where he gets all the impact. Because I'm like, where the fuck is this guy getting all this information? There's no way he remembers all this stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, John and I are doing another piece probably this week on, I think Monday night we're filming about the backstory on pumping iron, which should be a good one.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know there's a backstory.
Evidently there is, so John is going to give it to us. I know Steve Mahalik was supposed to be in pumping iron, right? And then he got hurt or got into a car accident or something
Maybe,
like that.
because they came out to New York to film.
Yeah, they had that's why they put him, I think, in the Pumping Iron 2 movie, The Women, because he couldn't do the first one.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been great for it because he's such an extremist. Like they would have loved him. He would have really been good on camera because he was such a lunatic, you know?
Yeah, great.
Lunatics always play good in these like movies. They always have to get like a couple of villains too, you know?
Yeah.
Ken Waller wasn't enough of a villain. Mahalik would have been way better.
You should ask John Hanson to video all those magazines that he has. They're probably like impeccable condition, right?
He sells them on he sells them on eBay.
Really?
I think he pays his rent and mortgage or whatever he's got based on those magazines.
Like baseball cards.
Yeah, they're perfectly there. Yeah, they're like probably in those, like, you know, how the comic books go in those little shrink wrap.
Yeah, he can call people up and say, like, you know, defend us. Do you have the, you know, muscle up cover from 1978? I got it here. It's in A+ condition. Defenders be like, really? I'll buy it. It's $3,000.
Yeah, $3,000.
And you know, you're 65 years old. And you're like, maybe I would like that cover.
Right. I got news for you. If we ever open the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, you know, Hanson can take some of those prized possessions and put them up in there.
I have something to add to it. It's the Bob Gruskin ashtray.
Oh yeah. Send me the picture. That's great.
It's the only thing I wanted.
Did you clean it at least?
No, Scott Politano. Thank you very much, Scott.
Oh, he cleaned it.
Sent me pictures and files, and I asked him, Scott, I want the ashtray. I want the ashtray, because Bob would be like, let me see what you look like, Dave. Oh.
Maybe you should start smoking a cigarette.
He would tan you with a cigarette in his mouth. And
right.
He's the only person, like all the bodybuilders would say, oh, Bob, yeah, you can smoke around me, because everyone liked him and respected him so much. And, like,
no one loved the smoke. The smoke was disgusting.
Yeah. He'd have a little rag. Okay. Let's say, I saw him. He'd say, who would be like competition for defenders? Renel Janvier? I saw Renel. He looks incredible, John. We got to get the color perfect.
Put a little fear into you, right? So you'd stand still. You wouldn't move around and complain too much.
Yeah, that was part of his shtick. Is he'd put fear into you. You like you look good, and you know you look good, no matter who it was. And he would compliment you enough, and then tear you down.
Yeah.
and say, you got no, you still got a lot of fat. And you'd be like, I still got a lot of fat. I'm eating nothing. Well,
Did you send me that picture? You would have sent me the picture with Jeff King in it.
yeah, that was crazy. Yes, it was Mike Quinn, Jeff King.
Where did you put that on your Instagram?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Dave, do you still have it?
I have it in text. I don't know how I get it on the screen though. I don't have it.
It's Bob out in front of with.
Let me see if I can get that.
Jerry Squeezy.
Yeah.
Mike.
Jerry
Quinn.
looks like he looked like Danny Padilla in the picture.
They got Rick Sampson and the Conzo brothers, and this little schmunky Bob Gruskin. Give me a Yiddish word for
Nebish.
I don't know what. I don't. Whatever would describe
Keep talking. I'm
a
trying
little
to get this
small guy in front of this group of would-be fabulous bodybuilders, and
He looked like Woody Allen. He looked like Woody Allen, right?
And the point of Bob bringing those guys to the Night of the Champions is to instill in every one of those guys who were going to see that show with him, we can beat all these guys.
He wanted them to see that. Yeah, they were good enough.
Yeah.
Who? Jeff. He brought Jeff King there, right?
It was Jeff King, Mike Quinn.
Is that the year that he brought Jeff King? Is that the story where Jeff told where he picked him up?
Maybe. No, I think Jeff was younger then. I think this was a little bit.
No, he said the first time he had ever been to New York, and Bob.
Oh, then that was it.
That was it. That must have been the story. Holy, he's gonna freak out if he sees this picture. He's gonna love it. If I can just pull this thing up.
It came from the archive from Jerry. Jerry had posted up. I couldn't believe it.
So Bob had that picture, huh, in his house?
I think I don't know where Jerry got it. But Jerry posted it.
I'm sure Jerry got it from it had to come from the files, right?
And yeah, might have. And Jerry, of course. I mean, Bob, of course, hated pictures. I'd always like, hey, Bob, let's take a picture. No.
Oh, he didn't want to be in the pictures. You're saying?
Never. It's never about him.
Right. There's quite a few pictures with him around. Not a lot, but
not many. That's because everyone wanted to, get in pictures with him.
Right. Well, I mean, how many times did I ask you to see if he'll let us interview with him? I was in New York. I would have driven to his house and done it. He wouldn't do it.
No.
He didn't want the fanfare. I don't know why, especially after the fact.
Did I tell you I Googled Earth his picture? You know how you can not Google Maps it, where you can.
Oh, the house? Yeah.
And he's out bending over, getting the newspaper.
I think you sent me the picture. I think you actually sent me the picture for that.
So not only do you see the house, but you see him picking up the newspaper.
Right. How funny is that?
You can't
make that shit up.
Can you pick that up? Can you pick that picture up from the text and put it on the screen?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to send it to myself. Did you watch the John Torelli interview I did?
Dave, hold on for a sec.
No.
The craziness is that years later, I would be at the Night of the Champions with Jay, Tom Prince, and Bruce Patterson, who I was helping.
You were helping Tom. What year did you help Tom?
The year he won his class at the Florida.
Oh, wow. Well, that's right. I think you told me that. Yeah, I think you told me.
He came and stayed at my house.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder why he didn't continue working with you. That was kind of weird. Someone must have scoffed him up.
Maybe the Jay. I don't know.
Oh, you think it was because of Jay?
Who knows? That's speculation. But here's Bob Gruskin in the 70s, and here I'm like in the early 90s at the same.
You were already taken over Bob's role there. Bob must be looking from up above and laughing his balls off watching you. Right. It's like the spirit of Grushkin is there with you at all times. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it on my Facebook.
I should buy the house of prep people down in that basement.
Yeah. If it wasn't in the Bronx, I'd say do it.
But it's a nice part of it's a nice part of the Bronx. It's almost Connecticut.
Yeah, it's not even close to Connecticut. Nice try.
It's near Co-op City. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Let me pull this up. Just keep talking. I'm just working. I'm working on getting.
Yeah, so that was No, it's a nice part of. Come on, Dave. It's a nice part. It's not like.
No, it's the Italian area. That's where my dad grew up there. I lived there around the corner from there. Oh, here we go. I got it. Hold on. I got it. I don't know how I did it so fast, but I work my magic here. All right. Let's see if you can name all. Let me see if I can name all the people.
Yeah.
I can. Can you name them all?
Of course, I can.
All right. Who are they?
That's Jerry all the way to the right.
On the right, that's Jerry Scalisi. Yeah.
Mike Quinn to his right.
Right.
Rick Sampson from Springfield, Mass.
Now he's huge. Who is he?
He had crazy legs. He was someone Bob was really tight with, coached. He used to train with Jeff a lot. I think he went to Springfield College. He's probably like 21 here, Dave.
Another
22.
Springfield College guys? Holy mackerel.
And I think he won his class at maybe second at the Mr. America. And look at it. Bob would say, his arms. He don't have the big arms. Bob used to say, right? Look at
Yeah.
And that's Jeff King, right? Look at the neck behind him.
No, you can't miss that neck here. That neck gives a giveaway.
Dan Morrow who was a phenomenal bodybuilder to Bob's right. So Bob made Dan Morrow.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you can Google a picture of Dan Morrow, Dave. He
almost looks like a Matt Mendenhall with that hair.
He looks like a Gerard Dente there.
Yeah.
And then in the back with the glasses, and that's Vinny Conzo and Eric Conzo.
Oh, the two last guys, the last two guys to the left?
Yeah, and anyone from the Long Island bodybuilding scene in those days know them because they were phenomenal. They're probably like 16 and 17 there.
The funny thing is Jerry looks really small there.
It's ridiculous, right?
He looked like a little kid.
Yeah, well, Bob said, you could be tremendous, Jerry. You just gotta.
How could Bob know that Jerry was going to be good just by looking at him? Because he doesn't,
By the same reason, when De La Rosa weighed like 140 and went to Bob's basement, and Bob said, "You could be one of the best of all time."
Right. Now look, I'm going to show you. Remember this picture, guys. Keep this etched in your brain. This is what this picture reminds me. As soon as I saw it, it reminds me of the movie, The Outsiders. You remember that movie?
Yeah. What do you
Watch this. I have a picture. How funny is that? Doesn't that look like those guys standing there?
Yeah, you gotta put Bob in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah, we just got to stuff Bob in there somewhere.
Let me see. See if you can Google Dan Morrow, Dave.
Let me see if I can find Dan Morrow. What was his name? Dan Morrow? Morrow?
Yeah, Morrow or Marrow. Put in Dan Morrow bodybuilder. Look at the technology we have. If not, we'd have to call John Hansen, see what issue of Muscle Up he was in.
I don't know. I don't think he's coming up, Chris. We might have to get one of the pictures from the files of Bob Grushkin.
Yeah, to get this one. Huh? No, I don't see anything either.
What?
He was very, very good. It's so funny. He's like skinny, like these people look like tiny. Look at how Mike Quinn was probably 19 or 20 there.
Yeah, he's very young there too. You're right.
Mike was absolutely devastatingly phenomenal at 19. I mean, off the hook.
He had a great arm. His whole upper body was terrific. I don't know.
His legs were great at 19. They just never got that much bigger.
Oh, is that what the problem was?
I mean, his back was phenomenal at 19.
Oof, he had a good back, yeah.
I mean, he had
good arms. He had good arms.
Great arms. If you can find a picture of him, they're around when he's 19.
Yeah.
I think he won the Teen America. I think Bob prepped him for that.
Oh, so Bob was doing his diet too?
Oh yeah, that's why he's there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It's crazy, right?
I didn't know that. I know he was living with Fran Volpe a little bit. I'm sure that's when Bob was helping him, right?
Yeah. No, Bob was helping him from when Bob used to go up to Mass all the time. Because that's where the good bodybuilders
Oh, right. He was in Massachusetts. I forgot he was in Massachusetts. He wasn't a Florida guy at that point.
All those guys predated DeMeo, Jay, and Matarazzo. Before that, there was all those guys in Springfield and,
I don't know if I can find. I don't think there's any old. I don't see any old pictures of I only see like new ones. like, or not new ones, but like the ones where he was in his prime.
I saw one recently when he was a teenager. It was absolutely crazy.
I bet you Bob's got a file of his. I wonder if he ever got those.
They had a falling out. You got to ask. Yeah, you got to ask what the falling out was about.
Oh, really? I got to get Mike. It's time for me to get Mike back on the show anyway. Here's a good picture of Mike's back, though. I found like. Look at that. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Hold on. It is, but it's not the right screen. Hold on.
Mike Quinn, Dave, in the 19.
That's a good back.
What was the highest?
Look at the detail in that back.
I have a great Mike Quinn story.
Go ahead. Tell it.
Mike Quinn came up to the bodybuilding camp that I used to work at in the year that the Olympia was in Los Angeles. I think it was 80. Let's see, must have been 87. And Mike was either, Dave, I'm dead serious, 6 or 9 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
9 weeks out or 7 weeks out, somewhere in that. It couldn't have been more than 9. It could have been between 6, 7, 8, or 9. And at this bodybuilding camp, we'd have a little mock bodybuilding show at the end of the week. And Stridham guest posed that week, and he could not stand Mike Quinn, and Mike Quinn could not stand Stridham. I'm
surprised they didn't get into a fight because both of them were not, shy about throwing down if they had to.
That's right. And why didn't
Stridham like Quinn?
Big mouth.
Oh.
And Stridham guest posed. Dave, he looked like he did when he did the WBF show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And Mike, I don't think was supposed to guest pose, but he ran up out of the audience, ripped his clothes off, and went as Mike would think. Mike thought he was going toe to toe with Gary.
Yeah.
Mike was so fat.
Oh no.
That you wouldn't think in 6 to 9 weeks that he could even get within striking distance to even do a bodybuilding show.
Right.
And at the Olympia that year, he was peeled.
Really? What did he place that year?
Very high, 6th, 7th, 6th, something.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Yeah, Mike had that crazy ability. He would get really out of shape in the off season for some reason.
Yeah, he had his lower love handles were flapping. Seriously, he hit a back double.
I've seen him in terrible shape,
but he would hit the shots like he was just blowing.
Yeah.
Stride him off the stage. I mean, you know what I mean?
He had confidence in himself, and I think that was also very important when he was on stage in shape. When he was in shape and he was on stage, he was elated almost. It was like a high for him, and so
he was actually the original Matarazzo.
Yeah,
like the rough boy, the Boston, and he. Right. I think he didn't go into the audience. That was created by Matarazzo.
Mike Quinn might be the only person I know of that actually punched someone punched one of the other bodybuilders out backstage at a show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in Europe. I always forget who he punched out. I don't know why I block it out all the time.
Dave,
but someone was trying to bully someone else, and he stuck up for him and punched him.
So every week at this bodybuilding camp, a star would come, or sometimes if they were sub stars, like Quinn was there for 3 days instead of the full week because he wasn't the quote superstar.
Right.
But people would do at night. In the morning, you'd have Quinn would train and show you how to train. In the afternoon, he'd talk about his diet, and at night, you'd get to meet the Olympian or meet the
hang out with them. Oh boy.
And you know where they put this? They put it in a bar, a college bar.
Oh my God, that's the worst thing with Mike.
But most people would be so on guard. You'd ask them what do you think of Dave Palumbo? It'd be someone be oh, he's creative, he's smart, he's a family man, and forget Mike Quinn. That asshole. Let me tell you my run-in with him.
People
loved it though.
I'm sure.
People loved it.
Those camps were probably so popular. I forgot. Not only did you guys have instruction, but I guess Joe would have he owned the camps, Joe.
Well, he started it as a sponsor, and then he ended up buying it.
Oh, okay. Because he would have Corey Everson there, right? There was always stars there, right?
Yeah. Yes, there was.
It's a brilliant idea, really.
Yeah, stars all the time, and it was it was like people would fly in from all over the world, and Dave, I would like have my bodybuilding blinders on, but
Yeah.
it'd be like an orgy fest on Friday and Saturday night.
They would be.
Oh, yeah, it'd be crazy.
That's bodybuilders for you, right there.
Yeah.
What would they charge? What would it cost, like a person to do the camps? What were they charging for this?
They would charge about for the instruction for 5 days. I think they'd charge $1,000. Now this is like 87.
Right, but that's still pretty good. 5 days. Like, when would people have the ability to take 5 days off, like from work, and go do these things?
People would come from all over the world.
Was it like during the summer?
Yes, during the summer.
Okay.
And we would work like we would have 10 minutes off for the week.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
Just so.
What did you get paid for that?
Like nothing. You got like a stipend. You get they
oh, really?
They con you on free food and
oh my god,
stars. It was like
you were just so happy to be with all the stars there. That's what it was.
Yeah. Joe's gonna fly you out, or Dave Zeland's gonna fly you out to California. You're 19, and you're gonna get free food,
right? And
you're gonna get you're going to live on a university campus. You get to go train at Gold's at night if you want to, go down to Venice.
Right.
And you're going to get to see Lee Haney and Gaspari and Barry DeMay. And
yeah, you would have done it. You would have paid them probably to go teach the camp. Yeah. It's great.
So it was
good stories. Good stories. Well, guys, if you have any stories that you would like us to talk about or you want to tell us about, you can always feel free to send those over to me and or topics. By the way, our friend Derek over there. The guy who sent you the book that I never sent you. He sent me more listings. I didn't really want to go through real estate with you on the show, so I'm not putting him up. Yeah, he's up to. I'll tell you one thing. My one story about Manhattan Beach, because he's always sending me real estate listings there. I guess he has his gym there. Manhattan Beach is gorgeous. I fell in love with it, and I'll tell you why I went there. I would go to Venice all the time, and then someone told me that Manhattan Beach had a great all-you-can-eat sushi place. Now, back in the 90s, there was very few of these places, and I don't think there's any in California. It was a high-end sushi place, and I think it was like $20, and you can just order. It wasn't a buffet. You could order as much as you want. But, man, driving down that main strip along whatever Pacific was there, I fell in love with that place. That is gorgeous. I know it's completely overpriced now, but to live there, but wow, is it gorgeous, right?
You know what? You talked about how you went to Cape Coral, and then you ended up in Cape Coral.
Yeah.
The first time I went to Manhattan Beach was with Vince Scalise, who was my roommate at the bodybuilding camp.
Right.
He went on to run Weeda Publications.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went on to run Muscle Tech.
Right.
But when we were roommates, I was like, living in Maine, rural Maine.
Yeah, you knew nothing.
Never been. I knew nothing. And he said, "I'm going to take you to Manhattan Beach." First thing in my mind is Manhattan.
Yeah.
Manhattan
In California, yeah.
So he said, "You're going to love it." So we go down to Manhattan Beach, and I'll never forget. I didn't know places like this existed. There's the beach, and there's homes on the beach.
Sick real estate.
Sick. And this quaint, in those days, they were quaint and small, like cottages,
Yeah, I think they still are.
And I remember walking by the houses, like looking at them with him. And it was like a Tuesday, midday, and everyone was home having lunch and reading on their decks. It was like everyone was home. And I thought, I said to Vince, I remember the exact question
This is the life, right? This is the life, man.
Yeah. I said, I didn't even know there was a life like that. So I said, why aren't the people at work? And his answer was this.
They're too rich.
They've already made their money.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant. And that was like burned into my brain.
Yeah, so, people sipping, drinking coffee at cafes, like during the week when people normally are working. That's the way Venice was. That's why I didn't ever move there, because I'm like, I'll never work here. It's impossible to work in this place. No one works here. When
that was in my brain, and so I said to Vince, of course, I was making like $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I said, how much do they cost? Just in case.
Yeah.
And they were like, then it was like, $3 million, then. So when I I end up back in Maine,
Mm-hmm.
visiting my folks, and there's a real estate crash going on. I didn't know, like historic proportions,
Right.
like late 80s or early 90s. And I go to this condo complex that to me looks like Manhattan Beach, and the price is like a joke. And I said, it was Manhattan Beach all over again. I said, I'm here. I'm leaving California. This is my Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
that's
went
and that's
back-
the house you bought. Oh,
yeah. That's how I ended up there.
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I fell in love with that too, and I wound up buying 2 houses on the water. So same thing. That
Well,
was
you know-
Seaford was my house, Manhattan Beach. You know.
Dave, it's so funny that you say Venice, you'd never get anything done, right? You just, if you moved out there.
No one works.
My whole, like, young life, junior high, the beginning of high school, I had this in my mind, especially when bodybuilding came into my life. I said, I am going to UCLA. It's a done deal. I'm going to UCLA. And then I realized, oh man, if I go out to California, I knew it might be out there though.
Yeah.
I said, I probably won't even finish. I better go to like Western Mass or stay in Maine and like tweak my education just
Well,
in
that's why
case.
the best. All the Ivy League schools are in the East Coast.
The
because-
boondocks, Dartmouth.
right. Harvard's in the middle of Boston, but you know, Yale and all those, Princeton and all that stuff is definitely off the beaten path. It is what it is. But yeah, those are the days, man. So that's with no bodybuilding yet starting. I guess that's what we have to do. We have to reminisce about the old days. But I think people seem to like it. So
We got to talk about something.
as we say every week, Chris, remember with Heavy Muscle Radio,
The truth hurts.
it sure does. We'll see you next week.